Braun sweeping the Coach of the Year awards, wins the coach's vote, the Hayes Schembechler Coach of the Year, as well as the media's Dave McClain Award. Braun was hired to be Northwestern's defensive coordinator just over 10 months ago. He was promoted to interim head coach in July amidst massive turmoil, took a one-win team from a year ago and went 7-5, leading the Cats to their first bowl game in 3 years. He is the focus of our big stats. 7 wins for Braun. That is the most for a first-year Northwestern head coach since 1903, when Walter McCormick won 10. His 7th win, by the way, came against noted powerhouse Chicago Dental on the same day that Cy Young picked up a victory on the Hill in the first ever World Series. It's been a minute, as the kids say. Braun will go for win number 8 in the bowl season. And David Braun joining us now for Coach Speak. And Coach Braun, welcome in. Great to have you with us. Again, you were hired 10 months ago to be the defensive coordinator, and now here you are as Big Ten Coach of the Year. I hate to ask you how it feels. It's the most trite question out there, but how does it feel? It seems like the only appropriate question in this moment.
It's surreal, and it's a credit to our players. It's a credit to the staff. It's a credit to the resolve of the entire program. You know, we knew in July that we had a team that had an opportunity to do some special things, and there was all sorts of things swirling around the program. And to this group's credit, coaches, staff, players especially, we rooted into, working on the things that we knew we could control, and that's getting out to practice and pouring into one another and finding ways to improve each day. Certainly weren't playing our best football at the beginning of the year, but this group just found a way to continue to improve throughout the season, and certainly feel like we're playing our best football right now, which is really exciting. Such an incredible opportunity for our team to become bowl eligible, and then to see our guys find a way to win in a rivalry game on the last regular season game of the year. Special moment for our program.
So, Dave, I want to tell a little story here. I want to preface it by saying that one of the things I try to do in the offseason is I try to get to know some of the new coaches, new assistants in the Big Ten. It's an inexact science. I certainly don't get to everyone. But you and I were connected a little bit, and then I met you at spring practice, and we put on the calendar, like 6 weeks out, hey, let's have lunch, since I'm in Chicago and you're not far from here. And so we put a day on the calendar. Now, it ended up being the Monday after you were named the interim head coach, about 4 days after. I texted the night before, and I said, do you still want to do this? I mean, I couldn't imagine what was going on with you. And he said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it in Evanston instead of in the city. And I came out, and I met with you. I was blown away by how composed you were. I was blown away by your optimism, and you were talking about the teams that you still thought you could beat. And I was thinking, I don't know what this guy's thinking. I mean, it's kind of a mess. But take me back to that moment. Take me not to the lunch, but take me back to like those 4 or 5 days when you went from being the defensive coordinator to being the head coach, having never coached before as a head coach at any level. And what was going through your head? Because I was struck by how you seem to be taking it all in stride.
Yeah, Dave, there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of hurt, a lot of question marks. As I told you, Kristen and I made a decision to move our family here because we thought we were embarking and joining one of the most stable situations in college football, and working for a man in Pat Fitzgerald that we, loved and admired, and, wanted to work alongside. And, all of a sudden, that's turned upside down. And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of emotion. More than anything, Dave, it was an opportunity for me to grow rapidly. I was to say I was out of my comfort zone is the understatement of the century. But an opportunity for me to learn and grow and then really root into, why my family, why I got into coaching, why our family, decides to do what we do is, we do it because we feel like football is an opportunity to have a positive impact on young people. And there was a bunch of young people within our program that, needed support and needed someone to put their arm around them. And every single decision that we made, every decision that I made as head coach was with their interest at the forefront of my mind. And a credit to our staff. Our staff did the same. We put our arms around these guys. We poured into them and we tried to, push them to be their absolute best. And we knew we had a group that had the potential to win games in the Big Ten, and we knew it was going to be quite the challenge. But just again, a credit to the leadership on this team, these captains, the upperclassmen within this program. There was times during this season where things looked bleak, and they just stayed the course. They continued to show up, and to get to where we've been is really exciting. You got a team right now that is hungry to continue to improve, and once we find our target in the bowl game, is excited to finish the season off the right way.
Hey Coach, and Reverend and I've talked about this. There's a lot of talk when you came just as a coordinator. Oh boy, he's a coordinator now. It's Division I, and now the head coach. And I've said this to people. I said this to Reverend. I said, I can take you back when we left the University of Miami, and we went to the Dallas Cowboys. And we were these college kids, and now we're going to this next level. And after about 2 weeks, I remember saying, aren't we still working on these turnover drills that we did back then? And aren't we still teaching tackling the same way? And we still got to cover guys or it's a touchdown. I mean, and I was thinking about you all the way through this journey. And as you said, you're playing your best football at the end of the season. But it's not just everybody would say, oh yeah, the defense, because that's your expertise. But you have found a way to get the offense playing as good as they've played all year, and the special teams. How has everything come together from a staff standpoint or a player standpoint? How has all that happened? Because it's outstanding, and it's just not one phase. I mean, your football team from top to bottom is playing so much better.
I agree, Dave, and I appreciate the compliment. We talked from the beginning of fall camp that, that's how the Cats are going to have to win games, team football. And things can get chippy in practice, and we love that competition. But at the end of the day, we're one team, and that we talked to early in camp. There's going to be games where we win because the defense, stands on their head and plays amazing. There's going to be games that we win, a game like Minnesota where it's a shootout, a game, like Illinois where our offense is finding ways to score a bunch of points, and we're scoring on special teams. We knew it was going to take all three phases, and there was just an unwavering belief in this group, a belief in themselves, a belief in one another, and just a belief that, regardless of what we expected the game to look like when we got into it, we were going to stay the course and find a way to stay in games and try and win games in the fourth quarter. And that's what this team has proven it has the ability to do on a consistent basis.
I think recruiting is the lifeline for any college program. You got to have players, okay? And now obviously you got the transfer portal included in that. And, and I'm good friends with Fitz, and I know and knew the challenges that Northwestern deals with differently than some other programs as far as whether it be the recruiting or the transfer portal. Where are you at right now? Have you thought this whole thing through as far as, and are you going to make any tweaks, any changes? Is administration giving you any help there, Coach, as far as, to get good players in and keep them in? Has anything changed?
This is, when there's change, whether it's expected or desired, when there's change like this, it's an opportunity to really take a step back and evaluate everything. And we've done that. There's been a lot of things done here at Northwestern within this program for a long time that are best practices that you admire and you go, we're doing it the right way. But with the changing landscape of college football, there's also areas that we need to continue to push the envelope and evolve. And, we're going to continue to root into the values of the university and this athletic department and this program, what it stood for a long time in terms of, recruiting young men that value the Northwestern degree, that are high character, tough, love football, and are team first guys. It's our job to go do that. It's our job to, thoroughly evaluate and identify young men that we can develop into, Big Ten football players that can help us win Big Ten championships. It may look a little different than other programs. We may have to recruit that developmental kid that, maybe isn't there yet, but 36 months from now, he can be a first team all Big Ten player. It's just going to take thorough development, great coaching, and a belief from that young man that he can reach those levels. And then we're going to have to do a great job in the new age of transfer portal and NIL of creating things that are outside of our hands. So maybe it's not us creating it, but doing a great job surrounding our program in NIL to ensure that we have things that we can do to make sure that we retain our student athletes, to ensure that they graduate from Northwestern with their degree and they play their best college football at Northwestern. You came to Northwestern to be fully developed, holistically developed, turn into the best version of yourself as a young man. Let's ensure that you leave with the Northwestern degree and that you play your best college football while you're still at Northwestern.
Dave, what do you want the identity of this program to be, like offensively, defensively? Because you're putting your stamp on it now. How do you want people to kind of describe each side of the ball?
Fundamentally based, fundamentals and technique. When people turn on the film, they tangibly see a group that plays really, really hard. I mean, like uncommon effort, and a group that plays together. That truly trusts one another and loves being around one another. And you could see that on that touchdown on our kickoff. Braden Russ forces the fumble, Mac Uline celebrating on his hat, Garner Wallace is in the end zone. I mean, tangibly a group that loves one another, that plays for one another, that plays together. And then lastly, for us to win on a consistent basis and have a sustainable product here at Northwestern that wins in the Big Ten, we have to be the most physical team on the field every Saturday. Have to be. Now that can take a lot of different forms, Dave. That can take forms in spread offense where you're dominating on the perimeter and blocking scheme and RPO, and you're running the ball in the light box and you're dominating the line of scrimmage and lock scheme zone. That can also show up in 13 personnel where you're running A-gap power. I mean, those are the things that we got to sort through. But the non-negotiables for us are fundamentals, technique, a team that plays for one another, loves one another, and we have to ensure that we're recruiting young men and coaching in a manner that on Saturdays tangibly, we're the most physical team on the field each and every Saturday.
Dave, I'm going to leave you with this. You're being rewarded for what will be, I think, one of the most remarkable seasons in recent Big Ten history, and one certainly people around Northwestern's program will talk about for a long time. What's the moment that will stick with you the most? Is there one singular moment that kind of is in your head about this season?
Yeah, it's hard to forget the comeback against Minnesota. I'm up and down the sideline in the fourth quarter and saw a group that still believed, found a way to make an incredible fourth quarter comeback, and seeing Charlie Mangieri catch that ball in the end zone from Ben Bryant and seal a victory in overtime is something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And this award is a reflection of, first and foremost, our players, and secondly, this staff. Character is revealed in times of adversity, and this award is a true reflection of the character that is in this program and in this facility.
David Braun, Big Ten Coach of the Year, named by both the coaches and the media. Congratulations, Coach. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you here down the line.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Up next, Urban and